Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Cool Crone. It's me, Val, and Cleo, and Sherry's backstage helping us out. And we're going to be talking about Three-Eye Atlas, one of my favorite topics. I don't know, it's fast approaching. Like, I love polyterology, but I really love Three-Eye Atlas. I really love talking about it. So, um, I'm just going to ask my guests to let us know what they're thinking about Three-Eye Atlas, or what they know, or whatever they want to say about Three-Eye Atlas before we really dive into everything. So I'm going to give a start to Val, and then we'll go to Cleo.
Okay, so I tuned in a few months ago to Three-Eye Atlas when I started to hear about it, and I started to realize, hey, this something's going on here. Then as I started to have it come into my awareness, I realized there was all this energy and all these things kept happening to me. And it wasn't yet Mercury in retrograde or anything, but yet it was purging kind of lower density, kind of negative things. At the same time, it's triggering a lot of higher frequency activations within us because I feel it happening within myself. And I thought, and then I heard, oh, it does all these weird things. And I thought, yeah, it's a body, it's an object, but it's not, necessarily the comet. And sure enough, as I go further into the energies and we're getting deeper in toward December when it comes closest to us, I think December 19th or 21st, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we're really going to feel it. It's been ramping up. So that's my take on it.
Okay. Okay. Good. Cleo, what's going on with you about Three-Eye Atlas?
Well, I didn't know that much about it, and I kind of ignored it because I thought, okay, you got a comet, an unusually big comet going through the skies, and it's millions of miles away. Who cares? Well, then I looked into it and found out why people do care. Just for what Val was saying, that there's different things, there's different energies going on around this comet. That's it's only the third one like it. Uh, I think the first one, I can't remember. The first one started.
Oumuamua, I think, was first. And then there was something called Swan, and then, so this is the third interstellar object to
Yeah.
come through.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's only been like in the last 5 years or something, right? That
Yeah,
these three things
the
started happening.
anomaly. Yeah.
And it is pretty interesting. But just I know that people thought that it was possibly uh an alien kind of a thing. I didn't get that at first, but I wasn't paying that much of attention to it. So I just kept looking into it, and I'm thinking, uh, Val just recently told me some of the things that were going on with this thing, that it was moving in strange ways, and it was turning, and it was somehow communicating with us. And so yeah, I didn't, I fair at first, I just did not think that there was a human, not a human, but an alien energy behind it. I just thought it's just a big, huge rock going through space. And now they say it's like the size of Manhattan. And wow, I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing that made me think that it probably wasn't something else, because if it's that big, I just didn't think it was. But now, trying to explain the different things that are going on with it, now that changes things. Um, but I'd be kind of surprised, because it just seemed to me like the aliens. I mean, aliens do come around to Earth all the time. Especially during times like the wars and things. So I'm thinking, what are they doing right now? Why is this thing just sailing by? And they said that once it gets done with its trajectory of going through our solar system, it's not going to return. Well, it'd be mind blowing if the thing turned around and went back the other way. So,
Would be mind blowing.
so, I'm still on a learning curve with this, and just trying to figure out what I do feel about it. I just don't know. So that's what That's what I know, Cole. Nothing. I just don't know yet.
But
Okay.
I think it's pretty interesting, Colleen. Maybe you could speak on this. You said something about it being 8,000 years old, or how long ago did it start?
It started its journey 8,000 years ago, from what they can tell.
So
And
use your
I don't know
imagination.
if that's actually when it entered our galaxy, or if it entered our galaxy more recently. I can't remember that particular fact, but yeah, it's extremely old. So if it is of any kind of artificial nature created by some other culture or civilization, they created it a hell of a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they were thinking about, but my ancient aliens conspiracy theories are just going bananas right now, because I'm just thinking, yeah, this
Yeah,
really
exactly.
goes along with everything that I've learned about ancient aliens. So that's just crazy for me. But I wanted to point out to people, let me get to the screen where I have this. Yeah. That now when I first started talking about Three Eye Atlas, I listened to Avi Loeb, because at that point that I started really looking into this, he was the preeminent scientist that was speaking out about the fact that he did not believe that it was a comet. And it didn't take long for me listening to him to agree with him. Yeah, it's not a comet, or at least it's not the kind of comet that we have ever seen before. So the three things, let me clear up that first. The three interstellar objects. The reason it's called Three Eye Atlas, three because it's the third object, eye because it's interstellar, meaning that it originated outside of our galaxy, outside of our what we used to think of as our universe, and now we know is only just one of many universes, probably gazillions of universes. But it's an interstellar object, came from outside, so it's not originating anywhere in the Milky Way. And it entered the Milky Way at a point in time. And again, I don't know if that's the 8,000 year mark or if that was sometime before. It entered the Milky Way at a point where scientists have conjectured that if another star system's beings were going to come in and try to make contact with us, or just try to come into our universe, that is where it would come from, and that is where it came from. So that's another thing that's very like mind-blowing about it. The other two objects that came to us that are interstellar was in 2017, One Eye Oumuamua, and in 2019 is Two Eye. It's Borisov. Now the Swan thing, I don't know. I don't know if that's another name for Borisov, but those are the two that are in this league of interstellar objects that we have discovered. And honestly, in 2017, I think, is when we had the type of telescopes who could see these things. So they conjecture that, maybe there are a lot more that come in, but we're just not looking in that area of the sky for them. So, and also that maybe maybe other things that are coming are not of a size that we can really consistently see it and know that that's what we're looking at. So,
I
go ahead.
think don't you think, Colleen, looking at your astrology expertise, anything in the sky, these things affect us as far as stars and planets and nodes or whatever the heck they all are, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, speaking of the nodes, even the mathematical points in between objects in the sky affect us. So the nodes are one of those things.
exactly.
Cross quarter points, or what did he call them? I can't remember what he called them, but where these points make angles with each other, because geometry is what the universe works on. The
Yes.
universe is all built on geometry. Now, we have come to call a lot of these measurements sacred geometry, because we see them also reflected in how we are looking at basic spirituality and how people explain spirituality.
And
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about
Mm.
that. They came in at the same area where, we'll talk about that. The wow signal. That was the wow signal and all of that stuff. So,
Well, and I think what you were saying about, you know, the technology, the telescopes that we now have out there that are just you know, it's amazing what they're finding. So yeah, it makes sense that they didn't see these things before. I do think there's just thousands of things like this out there. This one may be different because it is questionable about if it's just a comet or if it's something else. But I just think that there's thousands and thousands of things that, yeah, we would have totally missed it because we didn't have the technology up there. But it's so cool, the telescopes that they have invented and put up into space, the things that they are finding. I mean, we're getting super clear pictures now of other galaxies and stuff. It's mind blowing. So yeah, that was a cool thing.
and not only do we have a big network of telescopes across our planet that are run by professional scientists, but we also have a lot of amateur astronomers and scientists who have their own equipment that is so good now that they are adding to the data that the regular scientists are using to make their calculations and to make their observations about these objects that are out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have come a long ways. Probably not as
Yeah.
far as some certain civilizations on different star systems, but we've come pretty far.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to go over the anomalies that Avi Loeb has identified, and these anomalies, I just asked ChatGPT for a list of these. So these may overlap with some of the things that NASA is actually acknowledging now, because they weren't acknowledging for a long time that there were differences, that it wasn't totally a comet.
Mhm.
So the major thing, that the number one anomaly, is the size. So this thing is way bigger, like many hundreds of times bigger than most comets. And it's even, let's see, 5 kilometers, potentially even 20 kilometers wide. And some words I don't understand about the way they're describing the size, because ChatGPT is talking in terms that the scientists would understand. And it is orders of magnitude larger than previous interstellar objects like Oumuamua and Borisov. Orders of magnitude larger than those.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah.
big.
And that, but
Well,
that
they did compare it to the size of Manhattan.
yes, and that's on the small end. It could be even bigger than that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think it
Oh.
is.
So, let's see. It's roughly 1,000,000 times bigger than Oumuamua and 1,000 times greater than Borisov.
Wow.
Wow.
So when they say orders of magnitude larger, they fucking mean it. I'm sorry. They just do. They mean it. Okay.
Wow.
The next one that they list is the forward pointing jet, which has been come to be termed the anti-tail. Now, most comets, we're used to seeing those pictures of comets where they have that, kind of beautiful, kind of gauzy looking tail coming off the back of them. And that's the results of the ice vaporizing and dust that it accumulates through space. And we'll get into the whole ice and dust thing in a minute, but the anti-tail is actually a forward pointing jet on the front of the object, or at least pointing in the direction that the object is moving, like a headlight. Let that sink in. It has something in the front of it that is very bright, and it is pointed like a finger from the front of it, and it's always there.
Yes, and I have to say I see that when I look at the amateur astrophysicists who are taking pictures from home with their camera and their telescope, and you can see that light coming as it's traveling toward us, and there's the light. Like,
Yeah,
I-
there it is. There's no
Wow.
denying it, and yet NASA was denying it.
Yeah.
NASA and many news outlets, many major media outlets were all using stock footage of comets because they didn't have enough pictures of it in the beginning. And then we had the government shutdown. So they had the pictures that were released through October. And then in November, we didn't have any more imagery. And I watched a lot of videos in that time period about 3i Atlas, and so many of them had this stock footage that I could get off of my video editing software. I could,
Yeah.
I could get it from Canva, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
not of 3i Atlas.
No.
And so none of those showed that forward thing, the headlight. I'm just going to call it the headlight.
Yeah. The headlight.
And yet the headlight was there. So that it says the tail directed toward the sun. When it went and passed by the sun, the headlight pointed to the sun, even though it was going by the sun.
Yeah.
Interesting that it could do that.
Yes. That's like, what? It can do what?
So it isn't just like going on the trajectory. It's kind of like going, no, we're going by you, so we're going to point like this.
No, that's wrong kind of thinking. I mean, it's definitely not behaving like I'm a rock. Huh?
Yes, it's not. And what ChatGPT says is the tail directed toward the sun has proven particularly difficult to explain within conventional comet physics. Yeah, you think? Yeah. And still NASA is referring to it as a comet. Okay. The next thing is a little bit nerdy. It's an atypical nickel to iron ratio. I'm just going to read this, and if there's words we can't understand, then we'll stop and talk about it. So it says spectroscopic data, and that's just the types of meters that they use to measure these things when we're so far away. So they use a combination of like photography and heat stuff, heat signatures. They use a whole combination of these things to figure out what is the elemental or chemical makeup of like the gas plume or the headlight or the body of it itself, right? So spectroscopic data, that's what that is, reveals the presence of nickel in the emissions without accompanying iron, an atypical chemical signature for natural solar system bodies. So apparently nickel and iron often travel together. They do on our planet, and they do in most comets. The nickel to cyanide ratio is orders of magnitude higher than that of all known comets, including 2I Borisov, with a likelihood below 1%. A likelihood below 1%. So like probably not a comet. Like,
probably not. I mean,
probably not a comet. Yeah. And this composition resembles industrially produced nickel alloys, which is another thing that Avi Loeb has said. It wasn't built by us, but maybe it was built by somebody. Maybe it's not a naturally occurring thing, is what they're saying.
Mhm.
Okay. And whoops. Okay.
Val, I'm here. I don't know how that. Oh, I somehow. Okay, I hit my little. I'm sorry, everyone. I hit my little thing, and it clicked something that said turn my camera off.
Okay, you'll get it back on. All right. So then the next thing is they say anomalous polarization. Observations show anomalous polarization of light reflected from 3i Atlas with extreme negative polarization unprecedented for all known comets, including TI Borisov. The likelihood of such extreme polarization occurring naturally is below 1%. So I think that this is talking about the way light is reflected from this object, that it's just too different. It just doesn't reflect light in the same way. Now, one thing, they're probably going to mention this in the list of anomalies, but one thing that I know Avi Loeb has really emphasized repeatedly is that in comets, because they are basically, they're referred to as dirty snowballs, right? They have a lot of water and they have a lot of dust, and they have this combination of nickel and iron in them, right? But the ice and dust are what reflect the light the most because of the watery crystals. And so the level of water to dust or whatever in the comets is, I think, somewhere between 70 and 80% water, or maybe higher, maybe even up to 90%. So when they actually got some of the readings back about 3I Atlas, they found that yes, it has water, it has ice, like most comets. Its level of ice or water in it is 4%. 4%. Not like 80, 90, like a lot. 4%. And I'm not saying that the comet is mostly water. I'm saying that the nucleus, or the tail that gets the reflection with the dust, is a lot of melted ice. And not really melted, it's just pulling off, because space is very cold, so it wouldn't really melt. But the water in a comet is not in the body or nucleus of the comet. It is in the tail and the aurora, the stuff around it that makes that beautiful gauzy looking tail. That's where the ice is. It's coming off of the thing. And that's where they're saying that's mostly, ice, water. But for 3I Atlas, no, it's 4% of water. So now we get into
So do you think that, okay, you've talked about a possible 8,000 year trajectory of this thing? Do you think that it's continually, let's just pretend like it's not an alien thing. So is it continually building and building and building and getting bigger and bigger and bigger? And is that where did the water come from? I mean, whether it's 4% or more, I mean, is that something you normally find in comets?
No, you don't normally find that in comets, and it's not building, it's actually losing mass and reassembling itself, because it's got jets that have come off of it, and it'll probably talk about that. But
Wait a minute. What? It's losing mass, but it's rebuilding?
kind of, yeah, that's what they can't quite figure out, what's really happening with it. So it's like an ultra transformer or something. It's like really weird. Okay, wait.
Wow.
When did I wrote this wrong? Is that Val? I'm trying to see. Okay, so I think they're saying now the people who cited this in July in Chile, they're also saying that in May there was a brief sighting of it, but it was so unclear that they couldn't really zero in on it. So when I put into the to AI, I put in when did 3I Atlas come into our galaxy? It said that it entered our solar system on July 1st, 2025. I don't think that's right. I think it came into the solar system at some point way, way before that. I think we saw it on July 1st, 2025.
Yeah, that
When
sounds
it
more
got
right.
close,
Yeah.
when it got close enough to our planet. So let me go back to my long boring list of all the stuff that makes it not a comet. Okay, so the next one is the improbable orbital inclination. So the orbital plane is inclined by only 5 degrees relative to the ecliptic. Now that means that this thing is, if this is the ecliptic, is the plane of orbit that most planets you do around the sun. Now they're varying degrees of distance away from the sun, so they don't bump into each other. It's not like, they're all attached at the same distance, but all planets pretty much follow that ecliptic. Pluto also has a 5-degree difference. So whereas most planets are going around the ecliptic on this level, Pluto has a very slight incline, so it's just very, very slightly different. Okay. And that actually is the same orbital plane that 3i Atlas is using. So this is another reason why we were able to see it, is because it is in our literally our plane of existence. It is literally doing the same level of orbit as Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, Saturn. They all travel around the sun on this plane, the ecliptic. And now so does 3i Atlas. And yet it is not in the gravitational pull of any other planet. It is not in the gravitational pull of our sun.
Yeah, that's what the other interesting thing about this is, that it's not being pulled in that direction at all.
Right.
It's like on its own little course. It's
Mm-hmm.
got its own little roadway that it's taking to go through our solar system, but that these are all unusual things. I don't, could it be because it's so big, or could it be because it is controlled by something else? I
Well,
mean,
it's
it
not,
just
it's not, it's not as big as a planet. It's not just a new planet.
no, but it's gigantic compared to a comet.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm thinking of it in terms of a comet, but it just is, it's, or could it be something that we just haven't seen before, so we don't know what to call it now?
Well, yeah, we haven't seen anything like this before, so we don't know what to call it. Another thing that's very, very extraordinary about its arrival at this time is that it's on the elliptical plane, but it also entered at such a time to our awareness that it could go very close to several planets. So the closest planets to the sun are Mercury, Mars, and Venus. And it has come pretty close to Mercury. Well, it came close to Mercury because it came close to the sun, but not super close to Mercury. But it came very close to Venus. And what's the other one? And Mars. It's come close to Mars, and the Mars, has that. I guess, is it a satellite with telescopes or something on it, or photography equipment? But the Mars, whatever it is, has been taking pictures of it, which we will see soon. But in March, it's going to come very close to Jupiter. December, it's going to come very close to Earth. So it has come at a time where it can come close to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of our 9 planets, and it can
But
observe them.
but when you say close to the Earth, you're still talking about 170 million miles from Earth.
Yes. Yes.
So that's close.
In
170.
space terms, that is close. Yes.
Okay. Well,
All right.
yeah. But
In space terms,
I mean,
that's close.
it is so far away, and they're not concerned about it running into Earth or anything like that.
No.
But what could the effects of this thing be on Earth as far as our magnetic fields and our orbit and our, maybe nothing. Maybe it's really actually, although it's huge, it's too small to have an effect like that.
Well, Avi Loeb is postulating that she is hi.
Hi, sorry.
That's okay. That's great. It's great that you're back. Thanks. I'm sorry you missed what we were talking about.
Yeah, me too.
So Avi Loeb is saying that we have to think about what could happen, and what effects it might have on our planet. We have to consider it. Not necessarily that so far we don't see any, we don't see any actions taken that seem to be aggressive, right? But we also just don't understand what it's doing. Now, we have had some communications from it that are very similar to the communications that were about 50 years ago. It's called the Wow message. And
Yeah.
it was a series of messages, or a series of impulses I think they were radio signals. I can't remember. I don't know. You guys, I'm not a scientist. I'm not pretending to be a scientist. I don't really know anything except what is out there publicly available to find out about this thing. I'm just really, really interested in it. So don't come at me with, I don't know what I'm talking about. You're damn right. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm
Well,
not trying
no,
to pretend that I know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, though. There was something a long time ago, and actually some stuff that not that long ago, where they thought they were picking up some sort of radio waves.
Yes. Oh, here it is. It's in my little list. It's actually pretty like the next thing. The alignment with the wow signal. So it was a 1977 radio burst of unknown origin, corresponding to a mere 0.6% likelihood by chance. And another thing that Avi Loeb had said is that the frequency that it came in on is known as is it hydrogen? Yeah, hydrogen frequency. And he has long postulated that if, civilizations from other star systems were going to try to communicate with us, this is the frequency that they would use. And it's kind of a universal one because hydrogen is the most universal element in all the universes. Hydrogen exists. And this, I don't know how a radio signal is equated to an element, but that's, again, not a scientist, guys, just kind of gathering information, and apparently badly. But anyway, the communications that we got from 3i Atlas were in two forms. So first there was light pulses, and the light pulses came in a similar burst of information as the radio sequence did in 1977. And that is that at first, if you could try to translate the light bursts, you would see that they were sending out bursts for numbers, because this is also something that's pretty common across the universes: numbers, geometry, math. This is really the common language of everything, right?
Yeah.
So first it was numbers, and then it was certain sequences of numbers, I can't remember them now, if it was all odd numbers or all prime numbers. It was all prime numbers.
Yeah.
They sent out the sequence of all the prime numbers, and they did each of these sequences with regular numbers, 1 through 9, or I don't think they went to 10, but 1 through 9, or maybe 0 through 9, and then the prime numbers, all the prime numbers, right? After they ran through those sequences, each one of them several times, then they did other sequences, like the Fibonacci series of numbers, which describes the spiral, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's all about the spiral.
And then it went into things like pi, through hydrogen as a mechanism to transfer, like an SOS. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jason Vincent 77. Thanks very much. So the 1977 broadcast, I'll call it a broadcast, did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers, prime numbers, Fibonacci series, and onto other stuff like pi. So there is a real commonality there. So that we get it in light, and then many hours later, because they had a person who was really, this is their specialty, is this kind of communication, right? Really intently listen or watching the light things. And then it turned into radio signals.
Yeah.
Where it sounds like, Morse code, like,
Yeah.
So.
No, I've always thought that some of these connections were like binary code, that there would be a universal and beyond language based in math on the binary code that everybody would be able to read, not to read, to understand that kind of communication.
Wrong. That's true. That's true. The zeros and
0 and 1.
Zeros and ones.
And then you can expand on that, the hexadecimal system, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, I mean, that
It's all
would be
mathematical. Yeah, that is the language of the universe. That's a language we can all understand in our own way and interpret. So, yeah, I think we are
Yeah.
communicated that way on
Yeah.
many fronts. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, Jason. That's what he said. Okay, so we had communication was the next thing that we said. Not a comment. Sorry.
Not a
yeah.
comment.
Not a
Comets
comment.
aren't busy communicating. No.
No, they're not. And I already mentioned the extremely low water content. The gas plume contains only 4% water by mass. And again, it's just the gas plume. It's not the body of it. It's not the nucleus of it. It's the gas plume. Only 4% water by mass, primary constituent of familiar comets. While 3i Atlas does outgas normal cometary materials, the ratios are dramatically different from typical comets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now here comes another really exciting one. Perihelion is when it gets closest to the sun. Near perihelion, 3i Atlas brightened faster than any known comet and was bluer than the sun. Blue is a heat signature, meaning it was hotter than the sun.
Whoa. I mean,
What?
think about that now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a body, an object flying through space, an interstellar object, but yet it had a heat signature that was hotter than the sun. Now
And it's not a star.
and it's not a star.
So, okay. Okay. This unusual brightening rate cannot be fully explained by its high velocity alone. Nope, you can't explain that. And they also, in one of the articles that I read with Avi Loeb, he also said that once it came away from the sun, this brightening that had happened happened faster. It happened because comets do brighten, right?
Yes, they do. But they don't brighten as much as this one did.
And they don't brighten as fast as this
Yes,
one did.
it's fast, right? In response to the sun or whatever it was doing. Yeah, exactly.
So let's see.
None of that has been seen
About
before.
tails and tail sharp structure, blah blah blah. Okay, so that we kind of covered that stuff. So here's another thing that happened after it went past the sun, and this is very uncomet like. It made a course correction.
It did.
It actually changed its trajectory. It changed itself. So it wasn't it was definitely not caught in the gravitational pull of anything. It was charting its own course.
Yeah.
Now, whether there is any kind of a sentient being that is directing this, or if it was just already pre-programmed to do this, or if they're controlling it somehow, we don't know. But most comets do not do this. Most comets are falling through the atmosphere. They're not traveling. They're not orbiting.
So you're saying that this thing is going, let's say it's going straight somewhere, and then all of a sudden it goes, oh, you know what? I'm going to take a right.
I think I'm going to visit the moon. Oh, I'm going to visit Mars. Oh, I'm going to visit the sun. That's what it's doing.
And I thought what I read at some point, and maybe they've blotted this from all social media and the internet, but I thought what they had said is that they actually course corrected minutely to bring it somewhat closer to Earth.
Yes. That's what I heard.
You heard that? You heard that? Okay, I didn't dream that. Okay. Because I can't find it anywhere now. I can't find that to collect,
I did hear exactly that. Yes.
Yeah, so it's coming closer than we thought it was going to.
Yeah.
I think it's still going to be around the same time, December 17th or 19th or something.
Yeah.
But, all these things are just like, wow, can we all say not a comet?
It's getting our attention, and it's in our awareness, it's in our conversations, I think, for a reason, for a purpose. And it's definitely there to stir us up and have us look at things that are unknown. That everything that we think we perceive and know in this world isn't everything. We don't
Yeah.
know everything.
Yeah.
Just for
Right.
those who don't pay attention to things that are outside of their own little universe, their own little sphere, this is something to awaken that idea. Hey, look at this. This isn't normal. This isn't usual.
This isn't normal.
This is Abby normal, everyone.
Abby normal. Yeah.
Abby normal.
It is. It is not normal. And I think that its timing is just extraordinary. Just
Timing.
extraordinary.
It's impeccable. It's impeccable.
Yeah.
So 8,000 years ago, or maybe it has a guiding system inside of it that somebody is controlling it and going, oh, damn, we got to steer this thing to Earth. They need to be reactivated. We got to boost them up.
Yeah, I think so. I think
You know?
so. I think it's very interesting that now just recently the scientific community is coming a little closer to the attitude that Avi Loeb was promoting, which is we have to at least question it, guys. We
Yeah.
have to at least allow for the possibility that this is not a comet, that this is something else that we don't understand. And I heard a good video today where they were going through all the anomalies and they were making really good arguments for why it, kind of allowing the scientists a little grace, to say it's okay if you didn't believe at first that it could be something else. Throughout history, this has been what people have done.
Yeah.
For instance, when they figured out that the earth was not flat.
Well, they wanted to go kill and exterminate the people who said that the earth was round because they just didn't want to buy into the new idea.
Right. And
they had their reputations to uphold.
And at that time, I don't even know if they had the printing press. I was going to say they didn't want to have to reprint the books, but
yeah, exactly.
That wasn't even there. And there's so much that we could learn from this thing about what's out in space. And just knowing about that would be very, very interesting. I think the fact that it is, I don't know how they figured out that it was, started its journey 8,000 years ago, but
I don't know.
That's just like,
I think they probably figured out that from the point of coming into our universe, our galaxy, or however you want, whatever the right terminology is, and the distance it takes to get here, they probably, from that point, they probably started to age it and say it would take 8,000 years. So it has to be at least 8,000 years old.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm a novice just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's it boggles the mind, and it's so creative and wonderful to have this object come through. And they started to get our attention with Oumuamua, which obviously was all on top of when it was coming through. Interstellar object number 1. Yeah, it was very intriguing. And he said this thing is different. It's not.
Yeah, he did.
Well, somebody earlier in the show had suggested that maybe it was some type of a drone. And at first when I saw that, I thought, no. But then I started thinking about it and I thought, well, wait a minute. We're talking about some kind of technology that we have no idea. We'd never even imagined this kind of a thing. And if it was a drone, what is it doing? It must be picking up information for something.
Yes.
It's picking up information for something.
Exactly.
Well, before we dive into all that, I just want to say thank you, Cindy L514, for becoming a YouTube member. I really appreciate that. And I'll see you at the next members meeting. Okay, so let me just get that out. All right. So we definitely have not thought about this as technology in general. But if it is technology, we definitely have not even dreamed about that kind of technology.
Totally.
It's just, I mean, who's to say that it isn't, say it is artificially created, say it is some sort of a spaceship, right? And say that whole outer covering is just what it picked up through space.
That's exactly right. It may not just be like put there to to hide it, or what is actually metal interior or something like that. It may actually just be things collected. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
But
I
the
mean,
fact
we
that
don't know.
what it
We
has
don't know.
collected is much different than what we've seen on comets.
Yes,
Well, maybe comets are just so much smaller that most of those elements have just disappeared.
it could be.
They've just pulled
be.
away. So I
It's
don't
it,
know.
yeah, it
I
could
mean,
be.
just looking at
Definitely,
it. Yeah.
yeah, leaving the door open to any ideas that could,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
about
one thing that I didn't explore is the jets that have come off of it. So
yeah.
there have been these objects that have been flying alongside it, and you don't hear NASA talking about this at all. So, but you have pictures of it, and I think I have a picture of it in one of these. Where is this picture? Here we go. This is the picture. Let me see. Where did it go? Oh, come on. Okay, let me Google it. So these jets came off of it, and then it seemingly these 16 or 17 other flying objects
Mhm.
came out of 3i Atlas.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can find the picture, because it's a picture you've probably seen around.
I think I've seen that picture, and
Yeah.
it definitely looks like objects. Um, like many times you hear about the anomaly flying in the sky, and you see them break apart, and there's like X amount of objects, and then recompose. So we've seen that kind of thing before. So it does make us think, um, extraterrestrial life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
intelligence
Ugh.
is flying these, or manipulating them, whether it's whether it's by an entity or by a remote. We don't know. Yeah.
I had this somewhere. Where did I have this? I had this maybe in videos. Anyway, I had a picture of it at some point, but what it looks like is plus the region where a planet's gravitational pull is the primary force keeping its satellite in orbit despite the sun's gravity. It's generally referred to as the sphere of influence or Hill sphere. Okay, great. Thank you. That's great. So it's the picture where you see the 3i Atlas, and then you see like these little light things, these little light capsules flying next to it. So if you've seen that picture, that's what those are. And what Avi Loeb was saying is that those literally came off of 3i Atlas, and yet there was no what he called there was no launch pattern.
Not only that, but they're there. I mean,
They just appeared.
It's not like they get carried on away. So that is really weird.
Yeah. So
you're saying that those little things stick with the so-called
Yeah.
comet?
Yeah.
Weird. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, and by the way, Suzanne over here said something about a clone, and then she changed it to cloaks. But no, the clone, I'm kind of thinking, when you're talking about something that old, wouldn't it make sense that they would just be recloning things and getting bigger and bigger? I don't know.
Well,
yeah, maybe. And I can't.
she's thinking it's cloaking itself and making it look like it's
looking different. Yeah. Or hiding hiding.
Yeah,
part
hiding itself by cloaking itself.
I think the light things that are flying next to it, obviously these are like, it's drones, or it's, scout objects, or whatever, like it would be in Star Wars or whatever. And obviously I think my opinion or belief is that if they just came from 3i Atlas, then they are controlled by 3i Atlas, and that they are in a pattern, or they are in a particular area where they're supposed to just accompany
Yeah.
They're accompanying, like, like the, quarterbacks and
It's kind of speaks to intelligent life created it, and it is
yeah,
doing a mission of some sort.
it's organized. It's
It's
the result of
organized.
organized thought, not random. It's
It's
not.
Well,
not.
and what a better way if some some superpower in some other galaxy. What a clever way to travel around.
I mean,
Yeah, masquerading as a giant comet.
it's really
With,
a big mothership inside of the
yeah,
Manhattan,
that's
the
what I
size of
was.
Manhattan, right? Cleo?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, and then with all those little things that that hang out with the mothership, and the mothership looks like a big comet. I mean, that would be perfect. Plus, the material that a comet is made out of would be the only kind of thing that could travel around for 8,000 years.
Right.
Exactly.
That's right. That's
Exactly.
right.
Think of it that way.
I just love that it has a headlight. I just think
It's got a headlight, folks, and it has little buddies that fly with it. Come on.
yeah.
It's got a
I
headlight.
mean, if you were designing a 1960s television show about beings from outer space, oh
Yeah.
wait, they already did that. Yeah, that's what we would do.
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God. So yeah,
And Teal Turtle Studios says Sterling says it's a probe from ETs who keep tracking us and the
the
reveal.
reveal. Yeah.
And his
Sterling has a theory that there is going to be disclosure very soon about ETs. And I think that might be right, but I'm not sure that it's quite that organized. I think that, our government is like, again, like the last civilization on Earth to think that this is a bad thing to let us know about this. Canada's already there. Canada's already like, yeah, we're talking with the ETs. We got all our research going. In fact, they're developing our latest medical miracles. I mean,
Exactly.
Canada is there with it. Most
Exactly.
other developed countries, it's just the mindset of primitives to think that, first of all, to think that we're alone. That's just so arrogant.
yeah, really, really.
You are just like in the dark ages.
Right.
Dark Ages.
But also that that why don't you want to learn from this, and why are you thinking that it's got to be adversarial? It just like, get with the program.
The whole idea, it's kind of funny that the whole idea that in the US we like to keep it down, way down under the wraps, and not ever talk about any of this. I don't care what military branch you're in or if you're civilians. And yet Mexico, they're all like on TV talking about their UFOs and UFO experiences and blah, blah, blah. Brazil, I don't care what country you're in, France, they'll all talk about it out. Oh, yeah, and we had this and the ship landed, and everybody all goes, yeah.
The government that we have right now thinks they're so hip because they're talking on, yeah, that's true, Sherry. The government that we have now thinks they're very hip because their fearless leader owns a social media platform. Have you heard of YouTube? Have you seen all the international videos about UFOs on YouTube? Because all you got to do is put in one, that UFO in the search box, and you've got videos from all over the place, and not just in 2025. These videos go back almost the whole time that YouTube's been going. Because you're right, because other countries are just going, yeah, there's ETs. Why would you say there's not? So this thing, I think that Sterling, going back to what Sterling is talking about, I don't think, I mean, to think that it has to all be permitted and approved by the US before we have disclosure is really naive, very naive. That this is not the way things are.
No.
But I also think that I don't think that he's right.
I don't, it doesn't actually resonate with me at all, in any way, shape, or form. But, it could be all of the above and everything that we're all saying. but I think it really has a mission to be here now as we're going through this ascension process, and we're releasing all this this kind of polarity, this darker side of our existence, where we choose hate over love or any of that polarity. I think it's really addressing the purging of that within us in some ways, because it's coming up for everyone all over the world. People are really looking in their face at whatever else they need to let go of, and to allow in more light. And that's really what this is all about, is just knowing who you are and letting go of the illusion, that 3D illusion. That's what this is here to help us kind of let go of all that. And metaphorically and really, because it's here alerting us to look, we're not a comet. Look at where we're flying over. We got buddies here.
And as far as disclosure goes, I think the cat's already out of the bag. We already have ET technology and help with CRISPR technology and lots of different medical issues with scientific technology. I mean, I believe that the Haloid Collider was helped with it, was built with the assistance of ET technology. So literally the cat's out of the bag. So anybody that thinks that we haven't, that we're not already in disclosure, like
we're in it.
Have a Diet Coke and sit back. I mean, this is already gone. It's already going. It's not like we. And I think it's like when people are thinking of a great awakening too. Yeah, it isn't a bunch of people, lifting off the ground and floating up to heaven. That idea, that ideology is so old.
It's old school
really
idea.
Old religion. And it's like, we're not looking at him sitting in the clouds with angels with little white wings. That isn't what it's about. That isn't what spirituality is about. This is about an entire everything all together. Like we are all together. It doesn't, we know that the ETs are here. We know that the ETs are there. We know that they're going to help us. They've been helping us. And I frankly believe that we're a result of their experimentation and their lab. I think Earth is really the lab for the ETs. I think, get a clue, people. We're not the ones controlling things here.
And I just want to say, nobody needs to get saved. I just want to say this, because you are divine source, and we're all one being, one divine source being. We're just individuated sparks of God projecting down into these little bodies to experience ourselves. And it is us. We are the ones. Just like the Hopi say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. It's really true.
Yeah.
It's that shift in perspective, that unity consciousness. And I think all these interstellar objects are getting our attention, and also carrying energy that is helping us shift in a more quantum way. Because as we talked at the beginning of the show, I asked you, Colleen, all these bodies in our planetary system affect us, right? So whether you think the moon is hollow and rings like a bell inside, and there's really a base in there and it was towed into place, it still affects us.
It does. Yeah.
Think about all that.
I think it would be really cool if 3i Atlas just decided to stay and just take up an orbit somewhere, and pick a position in between one of the other planets and just become another part of our solar system. I think that would be great.
It might do it. Who knows?
Maybe it'll become a medical way station for people who need lots of medical procedures or something. I don't know.
Well, what happened to the two so-called comets that are similar to this one? Where did those ones go?
That is a great question.
Yeah, I
I don't
know.
know. I don't know.
I don't either.
I'll Google it and see. They've passed through our solar system and are now heading back into interstellar space.
So it just went fly by,
Yeah.
fly
Yeah.
by.
Right.
But get this, Oumuamua, discovered in 2017, showed no signs of cometary activity and was briefly classified as an asteroid before its acceleration suggested it was more like a comet that had lost its volatiles. Two-eye
Because it,
Borisov discovered in it was typical. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just going to agree with you. It accelerated. It did things that a comet wouldn't do, and it did things an asteroid wouldn't do.
Yeah.
According
then,
to Avi
and then it
Loeb.
says in early 2020, astronomers observed two-eye Borisov fragmenting due to the increased rotational speed caused by the sun's heat.
Yeah.
So it was breaking up, but Oumuamua they think went back into interstellar space.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're saying that once the Atlas thing goes, it's just going to keep going, and it's going to zip past us, and we don't see it anymore.
So it just makes a big loop and goes back out.
No loop. It's a straight shot.
It's a straight.
It goes straight through.
Yeah. That's what I got from reading about it. That's they're saying that we see it now, but we're not gonna once it's gone, it's gone. We don't see it anymore.
Okay, well we'll see.
And maybe in another 8,000 years it will reappear, but
yeah,
I mean, what goes around comes around, I guess. I don't know.
Well, you think, if it's traveling through the multiverse, if you believe in such a thing, and it's coming through ours and it's going out, it's going to the next one. So it'll never come back here if you follow that idea. But I just want to say these things have a reason. Everything in the universe, in the multiverse, has a reason for its existence, and it's always about the energy. It is always about the frequency and the resonance in numbers, in colors, in sound, in vibration. That is what the language of the universe is. And so this is affecting us in this way, in whatever way it is here. And I'm just speaking to what I feel it bringing for me. And it is bringing a huge shift, a boost, a turbo boost, a quantum boost to us. And I think in 2026, we're going to be in a whole different kind of mind space, a whole different perspective. And while a lot of things are going to be going on in 2026, I think we will be able to weather it quite well with that change, with that shift. So
I love that.
That's my 2 cents.
Well, that's cool. I hope you're right on with that.
I mean, that's just from my guides and angels. That's just coming through. But I really feel like there is nothing that didn't have a purpose and reason for connecting in our atmosphere, in our environment, in our solar system. It has a purpose and a reason.
Well, especially something this big that they've seen at least 3 of them now. That's something new for us. I mean, yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally.
Yeah. So
I just think it's amazing that the whole planet is affected by this. It's a common thing that all humanity will somewhat witness it. I mean, they won't really witness it.
It's almost like, yeah, I mean, as many people as we know on the planet who are paying attention this is us looking at something coming by and we're going, what is it? So that's a lot of consciousness shifting going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a group. That
Yeah.
And as we shift, more and more shift, even though they don't know how they're shifting.
Like
But
like
it's
like a pebble in a pond.
a
It
pebble
ripples
in a
out,
pond.
you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
It ripples out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cuckoo bananas. Well, this has been a very, very interesting discussion. I'm sure that people enjoyed it in the chat. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
Yeah, me
hearing what
too.
all you guys talking about it. And I am just fascinated with all the stuff that keeps coming out because, the change of direction, the jets, the seemingly losing mass but gaining mass,
Yeah.
the brightening, the coming close to Jupiter, coming close to us, just so many things that are so interesting about it. What if it changes direction again?
Yes. Think about that. You have no idea what it's going to end up doing. So
We
it's
just don't
all
know.
very interesting. And as we put our awareness on it, I think we're really inviting that shift that we're going to
Yeah,
be experiencing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to be getting together to look at or talk about 3i Atlas, I believe, again on, when are we doing this again? I think we're doing this again on December 13th. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about this again. So I am back to really actually looking at my comments and responding. I'm sorry, everybody. I was a little MIA there for a couple of months. But if you want to leave me some comments or even leave me comments there about things that you want to talk about 3i Atlas. And then when I start posting about that show, if you want to leave comments in that post, things that you want to discuss or things that that you think maybe I need to know or whatever, let me know about that. And in the meantime, please be sure to subscribe and like and share and do all the YouTubey things and subscribe to Cleo's channel and Val's channel. And if you're watching this on replay, I should have said this right up front, but if you're watching this on replay, please make sure to leave a comment that's more than 7 characters so that it feeds the algorithm. And I really appreciate all of you being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cleo, thank you so much for coming. Val, thank you so much for coming. I always appreciate your input. And we'll do this again, guys, because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. So we're going to call it quits now at 1 hour, 7 minutes. And hopefully 3i Atlas will bless us with some new information before the 13th. See you later, guys. Bye.